all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way.
I am Buchanan, Member of Parliament, and we're right now at None Such. This is where you have the community centre, football field. Currently, the community, the councillor, Wayne Mackenzie and myself, we're trying to complete the netball court. So for the Labour Day project, you'll see the asphalting. But I can tell you, community, teamwork, make the dream work, and respect to all of the youths that come out this morning, and they're putting in the work and helping themselves to ensure that the court is up and running and ready. It's a good feeling to know that people are involved in improving their spaces for recreation for themselves. And you never know, the greatest talent, the brightest future may be right here in None Such. And to find that and develop that, we have to have the facilities. So again, big up to the diaspora, big up to all who is contributing to ensuring that this community centre is developed in a way that serves the people. More to come, watch the ride. All right, greetings all. You are tuned into Context Matters. The date is May 21, 2026. And the topic today is when it all falls down, life versus death. You know, this is one of those programs that you wish you never had to have. There's constantly a cry about making, advocating for human rights to be better, advocating for, first the right to life, the right to privacy, advocating for rights, a complete disregard for rights, and then you sit and you say, what contribution can I make? What can I say that would change the landscape, that would cause people to respect? And the people I'm speaking about is Jamaicans, So naturally, if you tune into Reggae Global Radio, I'm saying what's up to the diaspora, the Jamaicans and friends of the diaspora, Caribbean people who are interested in the issues that are live in the Jamaican space. If you tune into Best FM 100 and you're driving home and the traffic is not getting any better, I'm saying big up to you. If you are tuned into YouTube with Walking in Divine Purpose is my moderator, and I just want to say big up to her and big up to everybody on YouTube. I see Sharon Clark 5884, the State, Healthy Eats with Carol, Healthy Eats with Carol, Paulette Phillips. I'm seeing Ione Wilson, Ivy Morgan, Stella Gray Passmore. Is a long time, see Stella, Big up yourself. We know you have Donna, but big up Passmore, Juliet Rowe, Modes of Shan, just everybody who is on the YouTube. I want to say big up to you. TikTok, you know how it go already. Tap up the screen, share the live. Big up to everybody who joined. I have several moderators, and I just want to say big up to all of you. And, let us keep it entertaining. Let us keep it respectful. Let us keep it decent. The conversation, as I says, is when it all falls down, life versus death. But, there is this arbitrary use of power. Those who are in power feel they have a sense of entitlement. And sometimes when people start to abuse power, you have to take a step back and wonder where you fall on the spectrum of power. and whether the power that you have, are you using it for the benefit of the people, or are you wielding power, destroying lives? And sometimes when you are situated in in a country and you're not in tune with the spectators, those who are outside looking in, you think that every single thing you're doing is right, and you don't think that people should have the authority to question what you're doing. You find yourself that you decide that maybe possibly the people of Portland Eastern is to get roads, and you said, I am powerful, let me give them $50 million or $35 million to patch up their roads. And the very next week you just get up and said, you know what, we're not about to give you roads in the east because the west is better. The people in the west is better than the people in the east, so let's give the people in the west and forget about the people in the east. That's arbitrary use of power. When you spend your days knowing that there are so many people out there that are in need of just basic food, clothes, and shelter, and you say it is time for resilience, it is time for recovery, it is time to improve the lives of Jamaica, but not necessarily the people of the Jamaica. You have to question arbitrary use of power. But then there are also state actors that are a part of this arbitrary use of power. And what do I mean by that? Well, you have state actors who get to walk up and down with guns. They get to walk up and down with a ticket machine. They have the ability to stop you. They have the ability to search you. They have the ability to tell you, hey, open your phone and let me see what in there. They have the ability to do whatever they want because they have the power to do so. Whether they use it and abuse that power is another thing. And there are mechanisms in the Constitution that talks about abuse of process. So when persons confiscate your vehicle, whether it be a boat and or it be a car, you see, the problem with stuff when they confiscate like a car, for instance, in 2021, they take away a car and the police say, you know, I'll get this back till me feel like give you. And then they have it at the police station and they take the rims off and they take the doors, the handles, and they pretty good part shopping with your vehicle. And then when you sue and you tell the attorney general and you name the officer and you do all that you have to do, suddenly the officer say, oh, you did always have the care, you could have taken it. Nobody never want your things. We don't have nothing to do with that. That's the type of abuse of power that we speak of. Similarly, it is a hefty feat when a young person can be a fisherman and decide that he's going to purchase his boat and he has his boat to feed his children. And again, the abuse of power, they confiscate the boat and say that it was probably being investigated to see if the boat is legal, and they take the boat and have it days at a time. A boat that has a capacity to make $50,000 a day is sitting rotting somewhere at a police station because some officer says, I'm investigating a matter that is not going to court, hasn't gone to court because of pre-charge bail, and they don't have enough information, but they feel like they should punish people and hold on to the property. It's the same hold true for if they decide that you're walking down the road and they never like the fact that they don't know who you are, so they confiscate your phone and they send it to the lab, and it's an iPhone 14, and iPhone reads 17 and go up on 18, and all know them no return back that the phone there, because the common man, he doesn't know that him can sue to get back him phone or do an application to court to get the property released. A simple notice of an application to the parish court in the case of vehicles and property that's confiscated illegally, whether by transport authority, whether by police, whether by port authority, boat police, boat authority, depending on what it is. All cell phone. Now you have to go to the cell phone authority and try to get back your iPhone because somebody decided them just gonna take your things and charge you under the agricultural act. Say you a man have 15 cell phones running in phone business, and the police just feel say you enough have 15 cell phones and just decide say them are gonna confiscate your phone under the agricultural produce act and say you have multiple produce, treating the iPhone like Apple. Because him read say if you have a dozen apple and you can't account for it, you can confiscate it and you have to come to court and do it. So I'm just looking at the legislation and say, see apple and take your apple, your apple products. Anyway, that being said, we're talking about the abuse of authority. And one of the sad things, and let me just start again by just giving you an example. Yesterday in the Parliament, the member from Central St. Mary, I'm still learning these things, Omar Newell, was giving his sectorial speech, and he came out very strong speaking about the environment, environmental protection. And a part of his conversation was the Bengala decision by the court, the constitutional court, that spoke about a minister's intervention after environmentalists would have said that they weren't allowing or approving an application for mining. The minister, who happens to be the prime minister, had stepped in and decided that no, he's going to approve it. And the court says, no, you can't do that. Don't need to speak any higher than that, but a ruling came from the court, said it was unconstitutional, and right thereafter, the people of St. Anne who invoked their constitutional rights went to most erudite lawyers, Michael Hilton and his junior, Dana. I don't want to mispronounce her name. Very brilliant young lady. And they got this judgment, and it was significant because the Jamaican courts have reinforced that environmental rights, protection of the environment under the Constitution, is a right that you must have. So you see, when them a fix road and them a do all of this, and when them did a fix Hagley Park Road, Pigley Park Road, and Constern Spring Road, and Mansion Hill, and True Drapers, and all of these places, and they're doing all of this, and lo and behold, the dust come, and it would have unalive you so fast you would never believe the type of health hazards that comes. And we take it lightly, but even water, you would not believe how important it is, how essential water is to your life and your survival. And I'm talking about potable water, water that you must be able to drink, water that don't have fecal matter in it or whatever else. When them test it, them find the water will come out of your pipe, water, that drinking water. But more than that, access to water flowing from a pipe, so that hygiene is essential to your existence and life. And all of these things affect the environment and your access, beach access. There's a video going around right now. I could possibly play it to see how people felt about not having access to the Blue Lagoon. And one takes these things lightly, but at first glance, when you eventually when you eventually pay attention to the fact that we, Jamaica have some of the nicest bodies of water, beautiful beaches, white sand beaches, and the access to these facilities by the common man, if I'm allowed to say that, the ordinary Jamaica don't have access to these things, is it can be very heartbreaking. But also you can imagine you plan a trip to come to Jamaica so that you can swim and enjoy the Blue Lagoon, because you said, listen, I'm in Germany and I just want to experience Blue Lagoon in Portland, because when I saw the movie with Brooke Shields, Return to Blue Lagoon, no, the first one was Blue Lagoon, and I saw these movies, Escape to the Last Man Peak, and all of these movies that is showing Portland. I want to go to Portland and experience ecotourism, a different type of tourism, only to reach and hear say you don't have access to it because you're black. You don't have access to it because you're not rich enough. You don't have access to it because the security not come yet and them not open yet. A body of water is not open until the people who want to regulate it, that has no greater right to it than you. And you have people in government that they make beautiful speeches and them tell lie. And them say, we're going to do this for Blue Lagoon and we're going to do that for Blue Lagoon, knowing that they simply don't want you to have access to it because of the color of your skin, and because they just feel like you'd be benefiting from something beautiful that should be reserved for a class of people that you don't fall a part of. These are human rights and environmental rights that we're talking about. The beauty of the environment and your ability as a human being to have equal access, equal treatment, equitable treatment when using facilities that is for the public. So, I mean, this is 2026, and to think that to date, as I'm speaking to you, the parochial road, a public road, is shut off because government has sanctioned it so to do, and nobody can do anything about it. I mean, if you take the course that you're supposed to take, when there's a mandate out there that you meet the judge or meet your maker, and people more want you to meet your maker and circumvent the judge, that is a whole other conversation to have. But
How many police came here this morning?
5 policemen and one with a big old rifle.
What did they say?
They said we cannot come and swim here.
What time of the morning is it that now?
Early morning, before
Like
9. Yeah.
Before 9, yes.
So
See?
the people them go to work from 9 a.m. So
Yes.
nobody can come and swim before work.
Which is so ridiculous, yes.
So is Jamaica for Jamaicans, or is Jamaica for the Canadians and the Americans and the Europeans? Who is Jamaica for?
Mighty God. This is so sad. Yeah, this is why we say access, free access to our beaches. Yes,
To all beaches.
to all
for
beaches, everybody. Yes, so you don't know specific time to come and use your beaches. Yes, they are sacred. They are for the people. Different uses, different meditation, different vibration. Some early in the morning, some late in the evening, some at midnight. Yes, this is the tradition. This is what my people used to do. We got to come down and we have to honor the water of water and spirit. Yes.
Stolen from Africa, forced to this land.
See?
And then you form a language, you form a culture, you form a people, and then you take the land away from the people. That's not even our original land.
Unacceptable.
And we made a land here.
Totally
we
unacceptable.
made a land here. We made a culture
Unacceptable.
here, and you want to take it away from us again. You take Africa away from
It's
us.
crazy.
You take our original last names away from us.
Jabem, you
And
hear the
wanna
call.
take away
Jabem,
everything.
keep doing what you got to do, Jabem, yes. See you tonight. Jacksale, yes. Screaming, beach in bondage, yes. We all got to be there. I wish you all could come also to share your experience. It would be so great for you to be there in Jacksale tonight to share your horror experience this morning at the Blue Lagoon. Yeah, it would be so amazing.
You're on an island.
Jabem,
You're on an island
hear the cry.
surrounded from water. But you can't go into the water because police come with big rifle and tell you you're not supposed to swim until a lifeguard is watching you. Me, I'm my own man, my own master. Nobody is above me. And them tell me can't go swim.
Now you heard the gentleman. Them tell him me can't go swim. If you were in the parliament, you would be told that you had to speak English. So I was sitting down and I was saying to myself, English is the language that the standing order says that we must speak English. But you see, patois is not recognized as an official language. If it is, I certainly didn't get the memo because I don't see them teaching it in schools, not a part of the curriculum. It's not a language official and indigenous to the Jamaican people that it ought to be excluded. I'm only raising it because Nikisha Burchell last week attempted to use about 2 sentences, and this is the same freedom I'm speaking about. And you see, Nikisha, apart from being extremely beautiful, is very speaky spokey. She have one of Lisa Hannah, good evening, good afternoon voices, um, the upper St. Andrew voice, the good English. But I struggled because there were members of parliaments previously. I'm not sure if any of them is there now, and I do not wish to get in trouble or offend anyone, so I won't name anybody. But there are members of parliament that struggle tremendously with the English language. And certainly the form of English language that they use is very patoesque. It's not up to the standard that it should be referred to as English language. And I wondered if they too were in breach of the standing orders, and if it's something that we are to try to think about, because when I hear them attempt to articulate English language, I wondered if they were to stand before the Privy Council, if the law lords would even understand a word that was coming out of their mouth. And then Chris Tucker would say, "Do you understand the words that are coming out of me mouth?" That kind of thing. So it's a little bit nonsensical in terms of how rights are enforced. But anyway, I only raise that and show you that Omar this week was Mr. Newell, respectfully, was very passionate about enforcing the rights. And when he mentioned the case in relation to making a comparison, and this is also a part of literature and a part of the English language, the ability to compare and contrast, the ability to articulate yourself through your explanations. You contrast or you compare, and you said if the court says a minister's ability to step in or overstep the authority of an authority, i.e., NEPA, environmental people, those who are competent, have the scientific information to say that something cannot be done or needs further review, needs mature consideration. And he makes reference to the case. And the leader of the government business acting at the time was Mr. Morgan, Robert Morgan, the Nesta person, the Minister of Road. Yes, he at the time got up and said that he was objecting under the standing orders because Omar was making mention of a case and was breaching the sub judice rule. This again is the level of abuse of authority that it flies in the face of rationality, it flies in the face of competence, and it just flies in the face of capacity. And it was most embarrassing because these things are recorded, And he stood up and he said that the Omar was at the time breaching the standing orders in that he was breaching the sub judice rule. Now, I'm here to tell you that the sub judice rule is a rule in law that says you're not to discuss the case or the matter in court while it's before the court, so that the judges of fact who could be influenced by public discourse, judges being the jurors, members of the jurors who could be influenced by public discourse, would be affected, and an adverse decision may come to the parties in the case. So they don't want you to talk about the case because they don't want you influence the jury. So it's a sub judice rule. The sub judice rule now, it kind of straddles the line of freedom of expression, freedom to disseminate information. These are constitutional rights, and the media and the press always take issue with breaches of the sub judice rule and whether or not a court can enforce the rule in a manner. But this is a situation where the Constitutional Court made its decision, and it was discussed in the media and reported extensively. Everybody knows, say, the government lost a constitutional case in relation to environment. Another aspect of the protection of rights that the current administration, the current government has continued to breach. Now, this in and of itself was compared because the NARA legislation, that's the National Reconstruction Resilience Authority legislation, has an identical provision, or a provision that's similar, which gives the minister the power to step in and do exactly what was done in the Bengal case. And ironically, the minister with that power is the prime minister. So the Nestor, or the minister at the time, I think he was offended, or he didn't like the fact that this was being discussed, because it is an embarrassing feat, I can tell you. No, there's nothing more embarrassing than breaching constitutional rights and another arm of government say, you despicable person, you have breached rights, you unworthy creature, you violated the rights, you've breached and violated the constitutional right, has been, is being, and is likely to do it again. You creature of the Constitution, you state person, you state creature, you ought not to do that. And the law lords sit and say, we are disgusted by your conduct and your actions. How could you, as a creature of the Constitution, violate the human rights of the citizens of the country? And we are the custos morum of the Constitution, and we do not care if you are even the prime minister. You remain a creature, and we must protect the human beings from your creature-like manner. That's how the court, when they're giving their constitutional judgments and say you breach the rights, they just make you look like a real hungry dog, and you should feel despicable and useless when the courts, with the supreme authority in their robes, get up and say, you creature of the Constitution, you, how dare you? And so nobody wants to be chastised and rebuked by the courts in any country. And what was most offensive yesterday was the attempt to say that there was a breach of the sub judice rule, and an attempt by the minister, who was acting as a leader of government business, to reduce judges of the Court of Appeal to mere whimsical, easily influenced, non-independent minded, strong-willed protectors of the Constitution and adjudicators of the law. Yeah? Custos morum of the Constitution are so whimsical and fanciful and useless and have an external locus of control, and is likened to that of a juror, an untrained mind, reducing the judges of the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, and the Privy Council to such a low space to say that their minds are untrained and they're easily influenced. Perhaps he knows something that we don't as a sitting minister, and his conversations, and how he thinks he has power over judges. But certainly to the ordinary man and woman like myself here, who have respect for the courts and have practiced in the courts and have been bullied and and afraid of judges in all their might, would never reduce a judge to say that a judge is so weak-minded and lack judicial independence that they would be influenced by public discourse. It is the worst thing to do when the Constitution speaks of the doctrine of separation of powers and makes it absolutely clear about judicial independence. Take it one step further to think that judges in the Privy Council would be sitting down saying, how can I be influenced by the media in Jamaica today and rule accordingly for the whole of the Caribbean and the Commonwealth? We're so easily influenced that we need the protection by the standing order and the interpretation by the Minister of Road, who is so versed in law and interpretation that he's absolutely the superior and supreme authority because he sits acting as a leader of government business. That type of condescending abuse of power at the same time is unbecoming of I'm not even going to say of the gentleman, the parliamentarian, the minister, but somebody who we would have to sit and ask for the ability and capacity to exercise equal distribution while building, rebuilding, reconstructing, improving, correcting the road network. His responsibility is so great. To see the whimsical abuse of the process and power is most disappointing. So, like every time, I was compelled, notwithstanding standing orders 40, to interrupt the proceedings, to seek audience with the Speaker of the House acting at the time, to indicate to him that the drafters of the standing orders could never have contemplated such an absurd, useless, incompetent, silly interpretation of the standing orders to restrict a judge, to reduce a judge to an ordinary mere individual with an external locus of control, influenced by external discourse and conversation in another forum. And to explain to the Speaker of the House that that is not how the sub judice rule works, and the matter has been ventilated all the way to the Privy Council, reinterpreted by our courts, and the convenient use of the sub judice to get to a place where one would want to not entertain or a cause for issues of national importance to be discussed, to be mentioned in the Parliament, is just most unfortunate. And again, a display of the abuse of power in front of the public for the world to see is most disappointing. And that takes us to the fact that when the member from Central St. Mary, in his passionate discourse and contribution about protection of the environment, constitutional protection at that, was interrupted, it is telling of the suppression of information, the suppression of truth that takes place when those who have power do not wish for the public to be educated in the way that is necessary to take them to where they need to be. Now, having said that, he finished his speech, very strong speech, ruffle a lot of feathers because the powers that be are called to do better, and nobody wants to be corrected when they have power. Nobody wants anybody to tell them how to do their job. And that was the basis upon which, a display of the abuse of power took place, because the speaker acting invited the member to retract his statement, but couldn't say what statement he was to retract or the basis upon which he was to retract it. So then he came back and said, go ahead and continue. And, just that interruption would have broken the stride of the speech. But, the member continued and brought it home. A very solid speech and display of what could have been had the right choices were made in the spaces where it was to be made. And I leave it at that. But, one of the things is about egos. Sometimes people's egos are much bigger than their competence, capacity, and ability. But I'm not here to speak or to attack anybody, whether their character or their person, because that would be ad hominem, which is attacking the person. So anyway, having said that, one of the beauties of freedom of expression, and I just leave it to my moderators, persons who disagree with you, they go on a mission to attack you and say whatever you're saying is nonsense and whatever we're doing, right? Yeah. And it is just as important for persons to understand and appreciate as we go, because it's for the benefit of the people to know what is happening, to know what the persons who they put in places to rule are doing with the power that was bestowed upon them. Because servants, when given power, i.e., if you give the gate man the key and say, don't let in nobody, him understand that. And when him wield the power, if you goodly come in and you don't have your ID, him not let you in. Him say, I know you, but you don't have your ID, so I not let you in. And so when you slavishly enforce, or you attempt to enforce the unenforceable or wrongly, and you want to use and abuse your power, many unfortunate circumstances take place as a result. The sun is moving and indicating the time of day that it is, and I'm just trying to catch the space where the sun isn't doing a number on me. Yes. So that having said that, and given that particular example, I want to now turn to the issues that I found to be very pressing. So again, beach access issue, very significant. I believe that, we ought to consider that, notwithstanding our need to monetize spaces, how we treat with the other aspects of giving access to persons who are born here, persons who have a right to use the space, who by virtue of birth is privileged as part owners just by virtue of birth of Jamaica. And when you pay your taxes, they said everything that when you pay your taxes, is for the interest of the country. And so you're supporting the development, beautification, advancement of the society for the benefit of you. Somebody asked if it's a train. Yeah, a train on wheels, a big truck sounding like a train. So anyway, having said that, the issue then went to, you know, what I found to be other abuses of power. And whether it comes from interpretation, but one of the things about, or one of the things I'm appreciating about being a member of parliament is that it's not every time one has to be political, especially when it comes to the interests of the people. The only politics is being played is the people's politics. I just have to say that. Having said that, we must learn to check ourselves in terms of how we mete out or how we use our power so as not to abuse it. Now, that takes me to a situation that is very disturbing. Granville in St. James is a community that had a bad start when it comes to life and the right to life. And here's why I would have said this. Now, there would have been an incident in January that would have taken the life of a 4-year-old in that very community. So a 4-year-old lost his life by the hands of, I don't want to cast blame, but because of interactions between citizens and police. Right? Now, that is a hard pill to swallow, and I want people to appreciate, because on Mother's Day, a 17-year-old lost his life. And it really, if you heard the mothers cry, if you heard the hurt, if you heard the pain, if you heard the suffering of the same community, the member of parliament for that community is the erudite Marlene Malahoo Fort, King's Counsel. And she took to the streets and has spoken out against, the unfortunate unaliving by the hands of the JCF. Now, why am I raising this? I want people to pause and think about it, because on Mother's Day, a teenager lost his life. This is after a 4-year-old in this same year lost his life by police shootout, a police interaction with citizens, and the narratives. Well, they couldn't say it was a shootout and an alleged confrontation between a 4-year-old that caused the life of the 4-year-old. But one can appreciate that a 17-year-old is still a youth, and we have child diversion, whatever it is that a 17-year-old is doing. So I don't need to have the facts, but to say that when a child, whether it's before or whether it be 17, is a youth by definition, a child by definition, and finds himself unalived by definition by the hands of the persons who swore to protect and serve, there has to be a fundamental problem. And so those who might not be able to articulate any greater or any better, or they might do it in patois and it's not allowed in certain spaces, but they cry out and they said, we want justice and we want to know what is going on. We want to know what's happening. How could the police come and unalive a juvenile, a child of Jamaica? not just son and daughter, a child, a protected class, a class that the law makes great provisions for, so that any conduct that that child was carrying on, the judge had the ability to divert it. The judge has the inherent jurisdiction to send that child to child diversion. So there's at no time any need for the Jamaica Constabulary Force to unalive a 4-year-old or a 17-year-old. But it happens many times. During the Easter weekend, many juveniles were unalived, school going age, still in uniform. And we have to think about that, because it is an extinction of a race, it's an extinction of a class of people, and it's extinction of the next generation. Um, and I don't have the answer, but it's very troubling. And while it is that persons have the freedom, like they do under the comments, my comment section, and they can go on there and they can say, yeah, man, a 4 more the police should have take out. Well done, JCF. Good Jamaica on the cleaning up crime. They've been cleaning crime from Natty Morgan and Sandakan. They've been cleaning crime from them was talking about Dodos and Zeeks and whoever you want to call every time. And they've been saying they've been having the most wanted list. It used to be once every 6 months to every 2 months. Now is every day them have a new most wanted list. And every night that you go to your bed, there is a confrontation that resulted in the unaliving of young men. And people say, boy, the youth them for behave themselves. And then there's that, and then there would be human rights people, and there would be people like me who always say, you know, first it was the Rastas, it was the Jews, it was the Christians, it was the students of Selassie High School, it was the downtown people, it was the people down in Tivoli, you know, it was the people in Grand Spen. It was the people from Rima. It was the people from Jungle. It was those people from Tower Hill. Yes, it was the One Blood people. It was the Green Bay killing. It was the this, it was that. And the people say, yes, and that for reach them. We don't care about due process and human rights and constitutional rights. You know why we don't care about that? We don't care about that because that not reach me. And the woman them say, yeah, the man them are going too bad. So that for reach them. But they never knew that it would start happening to the women of this country. And just like that, Mother's Day in May, and in no time. And I must tell you, I must disclose to you, Buju, the woman that was murdered, yeah, shot through the glass window, the front windscreen of our vehicle, was the relative of the 17-year-old who was very displeased at the killing of her relative. And her family was put into greater turmoil after a police officer took the decision that he would assassinate her. Yeah. And while that is being investigated, and the video is there, and person will put allegedly, I will use the case of the King against Clegg, decided by the House of Lords, to speak about conduct that is murder. Yes? To speak about conduct that is murder. And it cannot be classified as anything else. And so, as a result, while it is that INDICOM will investigate and IPROB will investigate, because of the overwhelming increase and targeting of the Granville community and the family members of these communities who are losing their relatives, senseless killings. We must call on the coroner to do an inquest. It must be done. And those who are responsible must face their day in court. It cannot be that as a developing country with such a robust human rights provision in its constitution amended in just 2011, it could never be that this country recognizing the importance of the right to life, this country that has suspended the death penalty from 1988, that sound like 38 years was the last time a man was put to death in this country. No, we're not bringing back the death penalty. The death penalty is savagery. The death penalty is riddled in bad policing, evidence tampering, bad investigations, misuse of DNA, people sent to death, and apology letters sent to families when vindication comes. You see, as long as you have life, there is hope for redemption, there is hope for justification, there is room for correction. As long as you're alive. And health is wealth. Yes? And so I'm constrained. Or not constrained. I was happy and had to, as a human rights attorney. It is my duty to ensure that not just the family of Buju, not just our sons and our family members, but other families. When you see what happened to the brothers in Stairfield, St. Anne, where in the middle of the night they were assassinated. Yeah? When you think of Nemard, when you think of the young man in Westmoreland, I'm not calling everybody's name, but when you think of all the senseless, brutal killings, yeah, the right to life is sacred. It's a constitutional right that even if a court declares, even where a court declares that the right to life is breached, no apology can give you back your life. It's not a right like your right to privacy is breached and your pictures leaked, so you're shame and you get a little compensation. When you dead, no amount of money can can be given to your family to undo the harm. Ramarley Sterling. Yeah, we can name them. We can name them because when we name them, it humanizes the reality, but it don't change the fact that they were unalive. And sometimes when you name them, you know what them do? The social media warriors, the internet warriors make dummy account and they take photos and pictures out of context, i.e., the minute that they found that there was no excuse known to man that could sanitize the conduct and actions of the officers, plural, in the killing of Latoya Bulgan. Buju, nothing could be said. No matter how you reverse it, flip it, and work it, that reality was most unfortunate. And yes, the people have rights, and you are to fight for your rights, and you are to never be afraid, no matter how much threats you get. Because I get them, I get the threats. Them say me think me a Malcolm X. And if me want to go like Malcolm X, it can reach me because me want to be a martyr. I hear all of that. Those things have never deterred me from speaking up and telling the people that you must protect your rights, whether it be the environment, whether it be land. And when you get up and you said people must get land and we must own a piece of this rock, and the evidence is there, the answer is there. We were speaking about the National Housing Trust and the pull down of 11.4 billion, and we're saying no, it must be for a purpose. No matter how important it is, it must be a part of the memorandum of object and reason to justify what purpose you're taking the money from, because every ordinary Jamaican must be able to live somewhere. And when you get up to speak, to say, listen, I take no objection to what you're doing, but you must explain to the people why they won't be able to own a part of the rock. And there are those who sit in Parliament that say, you think I saw government land go, you think you can just get up and give people land? The answer is yes. The people of Jamaica, as long as you're Jamaican, as land, if anywhere land there, you're supposed to can go up on it and set up and live somewhere and be out of harm's way, have a roof over your head. So should the elements come, listen, we're about 2 weeks away from hurricane season, you know. Yeah? I think government give me money for buy tarpaulin for tell you for tie up your roof where you did lose last year because they never gave back any money for you to live somewhere. And they talk about development, but do you think they care? That's the only thing I care about, you know, the rights, the human rights of my brothers and sisters. So for those of you who can go to your bed at night and sleep and say you are right, and you don't miss a beat, you don't miss a snore, belly big like Rosalie, and you know, not a snore, you just go non-stop. Rosalie gonna come for me for that one day. Yeah, and I know everybody have money for get tummy tuck and then go wind up themselves. Not everybody have them kind of money and ability there. You see what I say? So shout out to all of the doctors them who can nip and tuck for them clients because them rich. But for the rest of it, you know, we have to honestly think about other people. And that is what human rights is about. Advocating for the rights of the least among us. And even where somebody is homeless, they wouldn't be homeless if we were considering to make sure that the little few of us, we could make sure that Jamaicans had somewhere to live. And then we think we worry about mental health and we laugh and we call people mad and we talk about who must take home this mad person and bait them off and treat them right. But the abuses are many. The exclusion is great. The murder, the mayhem, the unaliving, the extrajudicial killings. When does it stop? And now that the women have entered the conversation of a higher form of violence against women, we are to have that conversation and think about what are we protecting. Because the same people who allowed a man to beat his woman with a chair and remain a member of parliament, the people spoke and they got him out. But just appreciate that those are the same people that don't have a problem with the unaliving of a woman. And then they go for her pictures when she's in America, where you are free to have your firearm and you're free to brandish it, because you see the rights of the American people are so greater than the right to life in Jamaica. Even if they're in America murdering them, they give them the sense of freedom to decide whether they could bear arms as a constitutional right, versus Jamaica, where it is a privilege and a decided. So the irony, but we are the irony, let me leave it right here, is that there is an integrity report about the FLA and they don't want it released so the Jamaican people can know the people that tell you that you must own gun, something umpy-scumpy are going over there. So. But anyway, we'll be back in a bit.
5 minutes.
I, Buchanan, Member of Parliament, and we're right now at None Such. This is where you have the community centre, football field. Currently, the community, the councillor, Wayne Mackenzie and myself, we're trying to complete the netball court. So for the Labour Day project, you'll see the asphalting. But I can tell you, community, teamwork, make the dream work, and respect to all of the youths that come out this morning and they're putting in the work and helping themselves to ensure that the court is up and running and ready. It's a good feeling to know that people are involved in improving their spaces for recreation for themselves. And you never know, the greatest talent, the brightest future may be right here in None Such. And to find that and develop that, we have to have the facilities. So again, big up to the diaspora, big up to all who is contributing to ensuring that this community centre is developed in a way that serves the people. More to come, watch the ride.
Right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way.
We are back. Thank you for joining Context Matters. The topic is when it all falls down, life versus death. If you are tuned into Reggae Global Radio Wagwan, thanks for tuning in. If you're listening now on Best FM 100, if you're stuck in traffic, it's not my fault. We just don't have enough roads and whole heap of car and construction going on everywhere. Just take your time and reach home safe. It's raining in Portland, It's raining right now in Portland. But the breeze nice, you know what I mean? And anywhere you are in Jamaica, if you're listening to Context Matters, we are really talking about rights. And we're talking about how sacred life is and how death is final. If you're tuned into the YouTube, you tuned in right here with me and walking in divine purpose, and we're dealing with Context Matters. And thank you to the supporters on YouTube. You are always supporting the GoFundMe. We are in the context. Let me just do it right now before we get to TikTok, because they're over there trolling me that they're not giving me no lion because I forgot to look at work. And they like to talk about, they love to tell me to go look at work and leave Rosalie up alone. But hear me out. Let me take this opportunity, and I'm going to do it later, to say, can't speak for the rest of Jamaica, but young people, Jamaica is for you, the future is for you. You know what that means? You're going to have to find a way to contribute in a space where they don't have nothing to give you to do. Right? And that's probably why when you see me on TikTok, you run me off because you see me in your space. But let me tell you, because I share as I learn. The farm work program is upon us. The members of parliament will have to decide who they're going to give this farm work card to. And the age for farm work is 21 to 45. But as I said, young people, you are the future of this country. And so when you're able-bodied and you have the ability, you must make use of yourself. Don't make nobody tell you, say, you're too good for farming. Don't make nobody tell you that there is an opportunity out there for you. But one of the things that you have to understand is we live in a modern world, an advancing world. One of the takeaways today that I have to share with the Jamaican people is that one of the best ways to have you disqualified from farm work program is if you can't read and write. Because Jamaica now send with nobody, we are going to shame them. One of the next ways is if you're technologically illiterate, if you don't understand how to use a tablet, because you have to take a test on a tablet. So when people laughing or people think I'm a mad person because I said every youth in a Portland Eastern must have a tablet. If I give a 15-year-old a tablet right now, in 3 years he's 18, and after 3 more years when he's ready for spin round and leave high school and everything, on a 15-year-old, a 5-year cycle makes him 20. Which means by the time he's 21, he's qualified to go on the farm work program. The question is, can he read and write? And even if he can read and write, can he use a basic tablet? Is he computer literate? Is he tablet efficient to be able to participate? Can he participate because of, and when you hand Miguel too soft, and so all who feel say the Robins are gonna do it and them get them BioClear and them mix it with the Suppligen and then mix it with the Rude Boy and I look on billboard where legs east and west and north and south and the backline of the middle and the rum and the boom, and you feel said that is the future for you. Don't follow where you come see and turn a cruff and worthless. And I've been saying for months, I said, listen, you can't be asking for farm work card and you don't have birth certificate and you don't have passport. You don't have your radar card. You don't have the things that will improve your chances of being a part of it. And you laugh when you see people in a swimming pool or try to get fit. When you laugh when you see people on bicycle or ride. When you laugh when you see people walk, when you say, yo, you feel drive, or you walk for your walk less. Health is wealth. And so when they told me today that the people them where them want must look floxy, you must look ticky, and you must look like a hungry belly water rat. No, they expect you to look like you did a farm yam and banana and you can farm dumpling. Anyway, yeah, you get what I say. Because it's true, I can't cook. I don't know if the dumpling come out of the ground. And the cassava and them things there, you must look like you eat out of the earth. Them for call you earthworm. You see what I say? Yeah. So when you come in and you say, MP, want a farm work card, I have to say, yo, earthworm, come link me today and I forget the card because earthworm they about. Earthworm farm him dumpling. And him take it up and him fry it. You understand? Earthworm serious. Him just go into the earth and him take up the dumpling. You see what I say? So you have to say, yeah, hold up, boom off my face. Hold up face. Because if them ever shake your hand, the whole of all your fingerprint them rub off. Because earthworm I deal with the hurt. You see what I say? So just know, say, you have to be ready. And I must tell you this. The equation and formula for life is life equals chance plus time. Life equals time plus chance created. Yes? And so you have to invest in yourself. You have to participate. But even as you're investing in self, people have to invest in you. No, me just make it clear. Me no want nobody that's gonna embarrass Jamaica because of selfishness. There are persons who would have participated in the farm work program who would have changed the lives of their generations. A man who went on the farm work program, even if him come home to 3 jacket and 1 winter coat, them 3 jacket and winter coat is doctor and lawyer now, because DNA testing never debout. You see what I say? So when Lato did a try give 21 Savage the jacket, 21 Savage say, yo, let me check the DNA, and then him realize that that is not available. But back in the day when a farmer get a farm work card and him go off for 2 years and him come home to 2 picnic and him say, boy, chew me a heartworm, I stay from Canada and get 2 youth and him take care of the youth them and him raise the youth them and deal with it and then build a house and then build it because him wise, them build it on a rock and then them did it for 12 years and then them get title feet through adverse possession and then the house get big and then a 10 bedroom and so all of the jacket and the winter coat them can raise in there and then the jacket and the winter coat them turn the doctors and lawyers and the farmer because of him participation and him never embarrassed Jamaica. You understand? And him work so good that the farm over there said, no man, you know, you're such a good worker. We're gonna make you get your landing and bring over your family. And him say, yeah man, and him go home and him say, yo babes, my work so good over here in Canada. Yes, right here in Ontario, yeah, Halifax, and these places, and I'm gonna bring you over. And because I'm married to you, I'm gonna bring you over. Get all the kids to get the blood test because we're gonna live in foreign now. Yeah, you get me? Yeah, man. And that's when him find out, say, them wasn't female, but him work hard. Yeah? So now we know, say, these things, the opportunities that you're supposed to get, you don't waste it. You are a representation of the best of Jamaica. And you see, if it's one thing I learned, I'm going to tell you a trick. You see, although 7 months now, Me I beg fish wire from the Minister of Agriculture. I'm going to tell him, I say, every week I go scandal you. If it's even once a week, I'm going to tell the whole of Jamaica, say, every week, I see you, and I say, Minister Floyd Green, beg you some fish wire for the youths, them a Portland. Every single week. Anyone want to see him, ask him and tell him. Ask him if me not do it. Him don't know me do it, because I'm not telling him. But here's one thing I can tell you. You see, when it comes to food, you see, when it comes to agriculture, and me watch, him bring amendments to legislation. All milk the man amend. The definition of milk. Him change it and him get the support from everybody. I don't know one person will get up and say, don't fix the conch law. Don't define milk this way. Or you see, once a food, everybody dep on the same page. Because health is wealth. Everybody have to eat. Well, if he's a Rasta, you consume still, but you get the point where I make. And your parliament, nothing about divide and multiplication and subtraction, and Damien not have to say nothing. Even though him say Wally, because him say the farmers in St. Catherine, we farm and we farm together. Yeah, or something. Some, fancy speech with maths included. So there is an important aspect of how important food security is. Contribution to food security of every nation tells you the importance of farming and farmers, right? And because of that, you can appreciate immediately how serious this program is. And so what we want to do, certainly in Portland Eastern, is to make sure the youth them get them opportunity to be the best versions of themselves. And trust me, I'm around here and I see them. Some of them have whole heap of goat. Them did listen to Damien, and some of them, even if them own a taxi, them have a whole, what is up name? Cassava with them plant, and this a crop and that a crop, all kind of something, and them serious about it. So here in Portland, where is a farming community, this is the time now that you wasn't wasting your time and wasting your ability. So it's not just I can farm, it's I can farm and I can read and I can write and I am competent and I know to use my phone. So those who did tell me did I waste my time, I tap up the screen and I share the live and I go live and I show them semi can farm and semi can do construction and semi know how to do this, and I can drive a tractor and I can operate this and operate that because I'm a talented youth. It come round now, right? It come right around now. Full circle, time come. But you have to create a chance for yourself because you can't be a fluxy. You can't be fluxy. Or this ain't for you. How we gonna have the conversations and we're gonna do the assessment. And you're gonna represent for Jamaica. And you're gonna change the life for you and your family and your jacket them where you get or I go get. And you're not gonna feel no way because you contribute to society. You see, you understand? That's where I'm going with that. But having said that, can't say me never did talk about it. Those who want to know more about it, we're gonna have we will have the conversation, and there is a process. There is no trick. It is capacity. You are responsible for how far you reach in life with any other opportunities that you get. So much so, I'm randomly gonna say this. I can't cook. But you see, there's magic in boiling water and can boil 2 eggs when it really, 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 really necessary. Yeah? Why am I talking about this? Because you have to can cook. So you have to pressure your book and you have to can cook. And cook and book rhyme. So you see, because of that, I just randomly decide, say, as a youth, you have to own a stove, a 2-burner stove. And so I just said to my office today, say, we have to give away 12 stove. And me want to see the youth them myself. As a young person who just graduate, and you just dead and as a youth and you just get your first jacket and say you have to boil the water to make the formula. You need a 2-burner gas stove and then you alone forget bun. You understand? So I saw how I do it. So me I gonna give away that. So them is like, what is he talking about? And my patois is so bad and they're not getting me. Yeah. And a 2-burner, right? Burn hot. So it must come in 2. You get burned, yeah, 2-burner. Anyway, so we'll talk about that. I talk to young people. I don't want an old foot come to me and say, beg you want 2-burner. Just young people. Gas stove where I deal with. I want to learn how to cook. So we're going on the earth and we dig up the dumpling. We fry the dumpling because so it go for breakfast. You dig up the dumpling and it's soft and you put it in the pot. You can boil it and get boiled dumpling or fry it and get fried dumpling. I saw them make dumpling. It come out of the earth and you need a 2-burner stove and you make it work. Okay. Anyway, now having said that, we will deal with the process when the time comes. Now, let me tell you, as an expert, a 10 minutes to take for boiled egg. If you want to speed it up, put salt in the water. When the water hot, then you drop the egg in the water, but don't burn your fingers. So that's my one lesson I'm going to give you guys on boiling egg. Stick with me for frying egg next week. So now we're finished with the cooking segment. Instant Annie, you don't tell me how to boil this egg. You just hold the pot, okay? You just get burned and leave me and learn. Anyway, back to the conversation. The rain is falling, so it might be louder than me, but you get the point. Let's talk. Let's be for real now. When we're talking about life, and I've said this a million times, life is something given to us without knowing we are to receive it. There are men who are incapable of creating life. There are women who are barren. Not everybody have the gift of procreation. And it can be a sad reality for persons who have not contributed, not by choice, but by genetic, by defect, by compulsory, are unable to contribute through procreation to creating life. Right? That being said, it not take nothing for nobody to take life. When you're young, your mother used to say, I bring you in this world and I would take you out if you're not going to wash up the plate them. I don't know if your mother did say that, but yeah, I know a mother that said that. I bring you in this world and I would take you up if you're not going to clean up the yard. You don't think me a ramp with, go on up on the road and go buy the gleaner. Your turn this week. And when you say, Mommy, no, you have to have one of them quick, the shimo, that neck thing to dodge the shoes them, because the boot them will come off of you. Anyway, pick a switch. After before corporal punishment and them things that come into play. But what I want to say is, because life is so sacred, the United Nations, the world at large, and even the Jamaican Constitution says that you have a right to your life. But even when you're alive, your liberty is so important. I went to court today and in a particular application through the wisdom of a judge and talking about balancing the presumption of innocence, liberty, suspension of liberty, you know, the mechanism of bail, reporting conditions and its importance, and balancing all of these things because you can be alive, but you're not living. But the life that I speak of is balanced or is threatened by death, an inevitable reality that everyone faces. So every day we wake up, we say subtle prayers even though we don't know when we're making them. For instance, we all get up and we say, well, today is a new day. Give thanks for life. I mean, I don't know the rest of the song, but we now make them stress we are whole of vibe, right? Because God is the greatest. Now, I'm saying this that we find ways to be happy that we're alive. We find ways, the best time to know how life is important is catch a little cold and catch a little flu and you're not yourself. I have to work on going back to normal. So you can get up out, you can get up out of bed and say, who will I annoy today? Who will I make hate me today? Those are the joys of life. Some people go and get up and them fingers at work or arthritis not reach them yet. So them get up and say, who me I got assault with my keyboard this morning? Make I go up on Best FM 100 and hear who out there. Make I go up on radio, Reggae Global Radio. You know what? Make I look who live on TikTok and X and Instagram and Facebook. Let me look on YouTube and go on to the comment section and just assault somebody with my fingers till arthritis holy and you can't bend your finger them and you say, God, what have I done? I can't press nothing. Tendinitis in my elbow. And sickness is an in is a reality, an eye opener to how sacred life is. And we have life and then we have quality of life. But I will say this before I go into the rest of the conversation that you see, as long as you have life, the possibilities are endless. I'm using this cup because I have a new cup. I'm gonna debut the new cup next week. But I'm using this one now. So when you see the next one next week, you're gonna say, wow, we have another cup. Yeah. I'm not telling you who get me the cup, but I have life. Thank God. So anyway, when we realize that death is final, it's the one thing that challenges life. There's no do-over. There's no sorry. You know? I'm not telling anybody that Verona bought me the cup. The cups is. I'm not tell nobody that. So don't ask me. Big up my moderator. Yeah. So anyway, um, when death replaces life, let me give you the Portland culture. Candlelight, night, set up, funeral, repass, and do it again when the next person dies. It is final. And if you have a good pro box, because I did listen to the Minister of Finance, she's so intelligent. Like, I took her advice and I made sure I saved my $2,000. And here I am today. I have a pro box and I'm my life is so much better because I took the advice of the finance minister and I have a pro box now. right? And without that solid advice, I don't know where would I be today. I probably wouldn't have life. So I just want you to know that. But you get to go to every night and every dead yard, and if you have a pure water and you put the pure water upon the ice, when people are ball for them loved ones and them thirsty, them just buy a pure water. And a $20 like what the Prime Minister say, and everything raised and gone up. But you see what I say? So if you follow the Minister of Pro Box, aka Finance Minister, and Marky G say water costs more than gas, I used to sub at $260 now for a liter. But I mean I know what go on. And then I see Raul get charged for murder. So you see how the United States take murder serious, them charge Raul Castro for murder. Them not play with that. Forget about ICE. We do the same thing where the police do to Buju out here in Jamaica. Forget about that. Don't be in Cuba and be Raul Castro. You'll get charged for murder, because murder is a horrible, horrible thing. So, having said that, when you're charged or given a mandate to protect and serve, the Constitution says all rights are subject to 13(2)(b). No state organ must breach, abridge, or violate the rights of a citizen of this country unless it's demonstrably justifiable to do so in a free and democratic society. Why am I telling you this? Why? Well, let me tell you why. The demonstrable justifiable criteria means that a state, it is on the state to say to the families when they murder your son and daughter, to say, I murder your son and or daughter, or son and daughter, and showing a nephew and a niece here and there. Because here in Jamaica, it's meet your judge or meet your maker. Yes? It's always challenged and everybody has an illegal firearm, even if it's a toy gun. You get 15 years for that because so much damage can be done. But thereafter, you must be able to say that this was the only measure necessary. And I can tell you this, no matter how you turn that video, it's not safe, it's not self-defense. Yes, it's not Beckford and the Queen. In fact, it's Palmer and the Queen. And I just want people to appreciate. Yeah? And somebody says Shanwan Bade. I don't know how that coming, because we're talking about life. We're not talking about cleanliness, but we know cleanliness is godliness. But I just thought you needed to know that. Right? So, the less restrictive measures that we're talking about, it means that you can shoot out a tire. You can pull up a handbrake here or there. You can take the keys out of a car. You can just simply take down the license plate and serve a summons. At no point does a traffic stop has to turn into the murder of a citizen, unless you're so interested with the spent shells from the murder of the 17-year-old, who happens to be the relative of the female. So, one thing a society always used to do when all is fair in love and war is to protect women and children. So if man a man, and man for stand up and like man, and don't be a weak jellyback man, you can't be a man. and a murder women and children. You cannot be. You're just a murderer. Cold-blooded murderer. An unaliver. That's what you are. Yeah? It's embarrassing. And no dancing in robes in your bathroom can take away the stigma of being a murderer when you take a woman's life and the life of a child. You don't get to recreate. You don't get to start over. You don't get to rub out. Yeah? And the irony, you kill Buju. Buju. Yeah, murderer. Blood is on the shoulder. Kill I today, you cannot kill I tomorrow. Your inside must say, hollow. How does it feel to take the life of another? All right, yeah, that same one there, Buju. Big up Buju. Big up you. And rest in peace, Buju. And you know, in United States, when we talk about hate crimes, notice, Buju was a dreadlocks. But I suppose some people will say, yeah, but she never said she was a Rasta. And any other thing. And in America now, them would have said, oh, and she had an alternative lifestyle, it looked like. So it's a hate crime. And then when the prosecutor preparing the bill of indictment, you murder the protected class, the cultural indigenous Rastafarians of Jamaica. You decide that you want to bring an attack on the LGBTQ, if you want. And then you start to realize that there's deeper behind it, because I think the word that I hear them use was man royal. Yeah? And so in the minds of some people, it wasn't a woman. But you see, once again, persons lose focus and lose sight of what God has created. Let no man put asunder. Because we don't need to have conversations about what a vagina is and what a penis is. We don't have to have it. We don't have to get into definitions, whether it be by sports, whether it be we will just keep genetics. Ironically, the Prime Minister says man is man and woman is woman. Yeah? So for those who don't know, when you put the bullet to the head and the post-mortem come, yeah, the post-mortem is going to say what they have to say. Very, very important. So, that being said, we must consider how important life is. And we must rethink, because all that I've said today, let me be quite clear, because I know many of them. You see, just like how we talk about the farm work card, and we say when you leave in Jamaica, we want the young men and women who are going to be a part of the farm work program to have integrity, good character. We want them to be honest. We want them to represent Jamaica in such a way that it coming like a World Cup them ago. Even though the last time we got World Cup in 1998. So we want to send them off and want them represent, and we want them get the golden boot and the gold farming, so the golden glove, the shovel. We want them get the excavator and the backhoe. We want them win the award for be the best digger when them go up there, ox out. That would, we want them come on with all the awards. And when we turn on the YouTube, we say Farmer of the Year come from Portland. Yeah? Somebody said, no, I'm not gonna read the comment there. And we don't want you run off. We want them say, yo, you're such a good worker. Take your landing and bring up your picnic them. So your reality mash up when you find out, say, the jacket them you try bring up, because them never was yours. That we want. We don't want you run off. Don't run, man. Bring them come. Make we test them for you. That we want. So, having said that, it's the same way the men and women that graduate from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, you nah get no better than them. Hear me no, man? The only reason why some of them never go law school at the time was because them never have the money to do it. Or they never went and studied engineering or med school. And so the JCF is not just a place where people who non-ambition go. It's a step your way into the JCF. You started off with the highest integrity. I'm saying that about the young men and women who enter that institution. And I'm not taking that back. I'm not looking likes. I'm telling you what I know. There's a difference between talking to an 18-year-old that don't find him way yet and an 18-year-old that finds his way as a member of the JCF. If I am right, if it's that young. But if you had ever lectured at the University of the West Indies and be in a room of first-year students that are 17, 18, 19 law students, and the aptitude and the ability and the capacity, knowing that by the time they're 23, at 18, they would be an attorney, or 22, and they would enter the most noble profession so young, with years ahead of them to learn and to grow and become. So it is that we must help our youth find their way. One of the best ways to have them lose their way is to watch them wield power with the mental ineptitude, the lack of mental fortitude, so that they would wreak havoc on the people that they swore to protect and serve. And they're completely outside of the matrix of what such a noble institution would allow. They are not. And I have watched the video in relation to Buju. And I can tell you there were officers on the scene that were completely shocked at the circumstances and sequences of events. Nobody can tell me that the case is sub judice, so I shouldn't talk about it. But I will talk about sons and daughters of Jamaicans who have lost their lives this year. And it is because of the absence of the cameras that Jamaica was robbed and deprived of the opportunity to see the murderous intent and the vicious nature by which the sons and daughters of this country were unalived and treated in the most inhumane way, abusing of a corpse, the mishandling of, and I can't even say it's a corpse because at that point nobody knows if the woman was given the necessary medical treatment, if she wouldn't have been here today. Let me tell you something, in first world countries, persons fall off buildings as high as the Empire State Building and then carry them into the hospital and stitch them up. And now when them have do not resuscitate, the doctor say, don't tell the family we're going to bring them. Give me 10 EP stats. Clear. People them come back and them look on them say, Marvarine, we gave you titanium bones and your eyes are bionic. Don't stare in the sun because you might can cook egg with your eyes, your heat vision. And don't blow too hard because your breath is fresh. It make ice. If you know a freezer, you can help make everything set good. Yeah. Just understand what I'm saying to you. And then fix you up. And they say, but who's going to pay for it? It doesn't matter. We saved a life today because it was our oath. And then Marveline come in and said, yes, you know, I met Professor Xavier and he's teaching me how to use my powers. But I want to thank the paramedics and the members of the police force in Boston for taking me so fast with the ambulance after I fell off the building. And they picked me up and they gave me Wolverine blood, and through that transfusion and the titanium hands and foot, I was able to do everything. And I now have a job with Devon House Ice Cream, and I freeze everything. I make everything set good like ice in a freezer. Yes? And when I get off that work in the night, you know, I go over to Boston Jerk and I make every pork around there roast. I provide the heat. I bring the heat in Portland. And I work everywhere. I have 10 jobs now because they saved my life. That's what they did for me. And I'm grateful to the paramedics and the doctors. Big up to the Minister of Health, because they had hospital beds and they had an MRI machine and they got the CAT scan right away, and they were able to know that the only thing could save me was Wolverine blood. Yeah. Because the system works. You understand? I just want to make that clear. But you see, here in Jamaica, sneeze, man. Do it if you're bad. Sefe. Yeah, man. Not even butcher, you can't even get little blood from the cow. Yeah? And the ministry is on a drive to get people to give blood because the blood bank would have empty. You know why? Yes, man. Because them too busy to take down sign. Yeah? Them worry, them major in the minor. I'm too worried. Them are worried about who impotent and who not able to do this, rather than worry about basic thing, improvement of healthcare. Yeah? And we're not talking about PR health. We're not talking about performative health. We're talking about real health. So that even where you get shot and you was in a shootout with the police, when the ambulance come for you, not up in the truck back, not like the way that Joe Bush in the truck back with the rest of the old tire them, and lick her 7 times with the tail of the vehicle, and then say take off, and we don't know if they went in the direction of Cornwall Regional Hospital when not done fix up yet, or Kingston Public Hospital when need a little fix up, or UWI where all of the money were for buy the machine them gone elsewhere. We don't know. So every time somebody go in the truck back, I saw a video today, I think it was in Jonestown yesterday. The person gets shot and the person was bleeding, and the woman lay down on her man, and the next woman lay down, and them pepper spray her, and them try put the youth in the truck back, and him said, leave me, make me dead. He wasn't even dead. He was not dead, and they were put him into the truck back. Now, I don't know if the news said at the end of it all that the person eventually died, because it seems like once you go in the truck back, you're gonna be unalive thereafter. That is what we need to move away from. Because it appears that once you go up in the truck back, the only other place for you is a post-mortem. That's it. And we have to have a serious conversation about the protection of life. Because I said death is final. It is the one competitor against life that when it wins, life is no more. And because of that reality, it simply means that there's a revisiting that has to take place about preserving life. And I always hate to include myself into conversations, but juvenile ISAT, the juvenile ISAT, if treated and discarded in the manner that the police carries out, sometimes by instructions of the wrong people. Why am I saying this? Because in 2011, yeah, it's a part of my story. 6 officers came into my house, throw me on a step, mash up my back, and throw me in the truck back. But the people where I live, they all got in their cars and they drove with the vehicle. And I was to be taken to the Constant Spring police station, and we were all the way down where Riverton was. And they came around through Duane Park and then went to Constant Spring, and the conversation changed. So I'm sharing with you a reality. The conversation changed because the people say, where we take up that youth here for? Where the inspector did say? Then how everybody a follow? Well, no, man, just carry him up and they leave. They left me at the Constant Spring police station. No investigating officer. It's a part of my story. And if somebody did tell me that that could have happened to me in uptown Jamaica, I wouldn't believe it. I would never believe it. But it happened. And the story could have been a lot different if the conduct and that which is sanctioned now is what was taking place. I kid you not. So I only raise that to say that an appeal now to the young men and women of the JCF. You have the brightest future ahead of you. If you think to be more than where you are now, and know that the force is just a stepping stone to your greatness, the force that has not provided the scholarships necessary for you to become lawyers and doctors and engineers, to all of you after serving a certain amount of years, that there's so much greater for you and your potential and your integrity as it remains intact is testament to who you can be in the future. One of the things that I was sad about when Steve McGregor didn't win his seat in Central Kingston was the failure to have the story about how he was in that environment and how many lives he changed, how many young persons he influenced to do good and become the best versions of themselves. And so much more that could have been done with a story where a serving member of the JCF would have transitioned into member of parliament. It was a significant story. Not as fancy as my story, but significant as a role model to the young men and women of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, for them to be reminded of what a noble institution They're serving so that they would conduct themselves with the highest amount of integrity. That is similar to the judicial independence that I speak of. Your internal locus of control that compels you to do the right thing. Executing integrity even when nobody's watching. Doing the right thing when nobody's watching. But a luta continua. The struggle continues, yeah? And there are many wielding of power, abuses of power that's taking place that we will have to continue to look at. And I'm going to leave it there, but to remind people that while you have your hopes and your dreams and your visions for yourself and your family and your future, all that will come to naught if it is cut short by death, an untimely death. All of that. And so we must encourage each other. We must protect each other. We must call for the use of body cameras. We must call for Jamaica Eye to be strengthened. We must call for community policing to return. We must call for conflict resolution and restorative justice, mediation and arbitration to be the hallmark of how we treat each other in society. We have to call for these things because nobody else is going to do it for us. There's a whole industry that profits from the destruction of my people being you. I am you. So I will always see it so different. I will always feel the pain a little different from others who don't feel that they are you, who don't feel that we are one Jamaica, who don't feel that we are one people. Yeah, out of many, one. It's not just there as on our coat of arms because it sounds cute, but we are one. And you know, there's so much more I could say, but I will leave it to all the families that were hurt this year and last year and the year before and continuous by extrajudicial killings, by murder in this country. That if we respect life, not just calling on the state to respect life, but calling on every citizen to respect life, because if you respect life, then you respect yourself. And if you respect yourself, then we would have different conversations. And it's not just, listen, killing people mentally, killing people spiritually, and killing people physically. The effects, the only difference in the effect is that death physically is final. But we have people who are alive and spiritually and mentally and emotionally, they have been assassinated. And we need to change that narrative, and we need to have conversations about re-energizing our environment with love, the kind of love that would cause people to want the best for you, the kind of love that would break down barriers so that nobody think that because you're a member of parliament, you're so better that you shouldn't be on TikTok with persons who are random, who possibly is from the very constituency you are from, but because they're not rich, they shouldn't be able to speak to you through an app. The kind of love that will make people know that nobody know more than you. We are one. That is what we're looking for. We're looking for that kind of love, the right kind of love. Yeah? That enhances us as a people. And we encourage each other, because we aren't competitors with each other when we have the whole world to compete against. And I need to re-energize that. We need to fix the tablet drive situation. But it's 6 o'clock. I'll see you guys next week for another edition of Context Matters. Thanks for listening, because I could talk all day. We ain't going nowhere. See you guys next week. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up, keep your style. Oh, nah. Interessante. Today, happened to me again. Yep.
It took some time to understand, yeah, just what it takes to be a man. Now it seems each day you learn something to make a better way. Growing up ain't just a phase, it's reality. And sometimes it's hard to face the world with your head screwed on. But in time you will see, it comes naturally, like the hurt and the pain. It's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You know I heard them say, life much better you live it your own way. But if you need a helping hand, just call on me, I will be your friend. And when it gets hard to face the world with your head screwed on, just tell yourself you can. And that's when you'll understand that the hurt and the pain, it's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You gotta keep on moving on. Don't let no one stand in your way. Gotta keep on pressing on. As we pray for better days, keep it moving, moving to the next. When they try to bring you down, we gotta take it to the next level when they come around. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. Just keep your head up, yeah. Just keep your head up, yeah. Gotta keep your head up, yeah. Cause everything's gonna be alright.
Keep your head up. Keep your head up. Keep your head up.
Cause everything's gonna be alright.
Cause everything's gonna be alright.